Hey friends, welcome back to Goodale Farm. I'm Peter. Today, got a job to do. I got to put my gate up in between these two poles where the cinder block is. I put the big pole, this one here, I put that in the ground in the fall. I figure I'd give it the winter and part of the spring to really set in. And the other support pole I put at the same time. So before it gets too hot, I figure take advantage of the nice cool weather and do that. So hope you enjoyed today's video, and thanks for tuning in. I'm putting this extra gate in because the main gates I have this one here, which is by the driveway. So coming in off the street, I use this gate here, but it's somewhat inconvenient when I have cars parked and I'm bringing the equipment through. So I mean, this serves a decent purpose towards the I call this the front pasture. And then the gate you may see me use most on the videos is the one into the paddock area, right here on the other side of the arborvitae. And this one, you know, the challenge or problems with this is I have to go through this muddy paddock where Lacey normally is, and then I have to access this gate here to get into the main pasture itself. And then a third gate I have is way down there, which I don't use too often because this stone wall, there's a little pathway through the stone wall, but you're contending with a hill, the stone wall, and making that turn is pretty difficult to do. So I picked up this extra gate and am going to install it here for a couple reasons. One, it's relatively flat and I don't have to deal with the paddock area where Lacey might be. And it also provides good access from the pasture or to the pasture into my backyard here. So if I ever had any large equipment, I needed to take down a tree, do some excavation work, etc., I don't have to go through the driveway. I could actually cut through the pasture and enter this gate here. And another area just to point out is way back in the corner by the street is another access point off of the street. I have a double gate and then into this pasture area, so large equipment can come in here, enter the pasture, come through this new gate and enter my backyard area back down here without having to deal with the driveway and the cars, etc. So I'm going to put this up and that will provide good access. The way I'm going to install this is the hinge side of the gate will be on this larger pole. And the main reason for that is, although you can't necessarily see it, the ground is on a little bit of a hill downward. This way, when you open the gate, I'll be opening it on the downhill slope so that the gate won't be dragging across the land. Gates have a tendency to sag, so over time that might be the better approach because it won't hit the ground. So let me get going at that. So the steps are pretty straightforward. I have the old field fence. God, this got to go back to 1960, but it's heavy duty and works fine. And then I have the electric rope. It's a poly rope with a wire that's interwoven in there, so the wire carries the charge if you were to touch it. So what I'm going to do is cut this fence basically in the middle. I'll wrap around this pole here, probably tuck it around so that it's not in the way, you won't get snagged on it. And then the same with this side, cut it, tuck it around, put some staples on this side. And then I have to cut the electric poly, probably cut it around here and put a access handle on there. Drill the holes in this pole here. And these gates, this one's from Tractor Supply. I think I got a 10-foot. I think it's 10 foot, maybe 12. It comes with the hinge pins. So I'll screw the hole in, put these in, put the fence up, and should be in business. I'm going to use a cinder block here to help me gauge how high I want that bottom of the gate to be. I like to put mine a little high. I don't have any small animals that I'm concerned about crawling through, and I keep it high because of the snow we get in the wintertime. The higher it is, the less I have to shovel to get any equipment through here. Now, when you hang a gate and you put it on a post, I mean, it's great to be able to have a nice level post, but even if your post isn't level, that's not a big deal. What you want to ensure is that these hinge pins, where you put them on the post, you want to make sure that line that those hinge pins are on is plumb. So I'm going to set up a plumb line on the hinge pins. I'm just going to have it just a little bit to the right of outside center. This way, when the gate opens up, I'll have enough clearance to open up. I'm going to open it up towards me, away from the pasture. And then this way, when it opens up, it will give me enough clearance. I'll probably, have a hook or something to affix to this pole to keep the gate open so that the wind doesn't close it on me. So let me get those the plumb lines set up and drill the holes. These brackets that the hinge pins go into, you can see there's a nut and bolt here on this one. So they're adjustable. Right now I think it's a 38-inch difference. So as long as you're pretty close, that's fine. You can always loosen this up and adjust it. Now, in selecting the bit to bore for this guy here, you don't want it too big because you want these teeth or the grooves to actually bind into the wood. So when you take a look at, let's say, a 5/8 is pretty much just a little bit shy of these threads, so that's good. And then a 1/2 inch is just a little small. So I'm going to go, fully in with the 1/2 inch, and then the start of the hole, I'm going to do the 5/8, so just so that it's easier to get it going. But once it starts going into the wood, I want to be able to have it really grip really well. If you go too small of a bit, then this could have a tendency to actually split your pole. So you want to find that right balance. All right, so I got the 2 holes. That's 5/8 opening, and then deeper inside is 1/2 inch. And the same with that one here. I like this type of work because even if you screw up, you got a whole canvas of pole to re-drill. So if you're going about this, don't be too concerned. I mean, certainly do your measurements, do your lining up, but I've had times in the past where the hole was off or the gate didn't swing properly, and all you do is plug that up with a stick or some caulking, something, and just move on and do another hole. Not a big deal. All right, let's put these pegs in. On these hinge pins, there's a couple ways to put them in. What I like to do is get it started first with the hammer, and what you could do, there's a little flat part here that you could put an adjustable wrench on and turn it with the adjustable wrench, or you could just get a closed end wrench, put the closed end in here, and use that as a lever. I find this one much easier. Sometimes if your fence is low, this wrench might hit the ground. You either get a smaller wrench or you use the adjustable wrench, or there's a different way of doing it. But I'm going to do that today with this and get them going. All right, so we got the 2 pegs in, and let's see how I did. So the bottom of that peg to the bottom of this one, 37 3/4. And again, I can move this, so it's not a big deal, but the bottom of that peg to the bottom of this one, that's pretty close. All right, let's try to put this puppy up and see how it looks. All right, got good news and not so good news. Good news is, look at that, lined up really well. Not so good news, in the spirit of keeping it real, the bottom of the gate's hitting the ground. I don't know how that happened. All right, so back to my point about re-drilling the holes and having enough space on this pole. So I got to bring these things up probably a good 6 inches or so in order to raise that end. All right, round 2, here we go. Okay, here we go. Here's the original hole. Came up, call it 7 inches, and did those 2. And, I just realized, this is a old, I don't know, telephone pole or something, and there's holes all over the thing. Okay, I think we're there. I was able to get the gate on the pins. It's a good cinder block height off the ground, and this is it's basically right on that cinder block. And the good news is, you put the level on there. I don't know if it's dead not level, but I mean, that's pretty close, so I'm happy with it. Now you can see off, it's pretty much, I don't know, let's call that 18 inches off the ground over here. Cinder block height is what, 10 inches or so, so about there. That should be fine right now. You want to come with me? Work on the gate? Something new? Come on over. You can help me out. All right, have my helper here. All right, Lacey, here's what we got to do. Yeah, leave that alone for now, okay? We're going to cut this fence. I'm going to wrap it around that pole here. Wrap it around that pole there. And then what I have here is the electric fence connector. So, this will be the side I'll put this on. We'll cut this rope here. We'll put a handle on the wire itself. So, in effect, I'm going to tie this handle on here, and we'll latch it onto that connector. And I think basically that should be it. So let me start getting to cutting and drilling and putting that hardware on. All right, let's put this guy in. All right, so to connect these handles to the rope, I think generally you could probably just tie the rope around that metal holder there, but I like to overdo things, and I actually put a piece of wire, galvanized wire. I'll crimp it to the metal to make sure there's good contact. Then I'll weave it around the rope here so that ensure that there's contact with the wire that's in the rope. And then I'll cover that with electrical tape just to keep it secure and extra tight. And then here's the doohickey that it connects into, and you can see that it will be metal to metal, so this will connect here. It's insulated with this collar, plastic collar, and then on this side I'm going to connect that rope that's on the ground. I'll probably use more wire, etc., to ensure a good solid connection. All right, here's the finished job. I'm pretty happy with how that turned out. We got that connection going in. Here's this, and it's all taped up with enough slack. All right, let me get to the fence now. All right, we got these galvanized fencing staples. I have the fence bent around. I'm going to put a bunch of staples down here. Same thing on this side. Bend it around, staple it up. And I think I'll put a staple right around here so I could hang the hook. I mean, sometimes I just hang it right on the rope. But, you know, having a little hook there probably wouldn't hurt. All right, let me get to hammering. Okay, I'm calling this job done. Got this side all stapled up, some reinforcement up top, and on the bottom usually gets most of the stress. Got a nice clip there. This is hooked up nice on this side. Same thing with the fence wrapped around. And I just used a chain here to secure it, which is fine. And that's it, everybody. So I hope you enjoyed the video. We'll catch you next time. Thank you.